My name is Stephanie Mohan, and I'm a portrait and protest photographer, and I have a studio here in Fairfax. And I came up with the idea to have this club when I applied for the position of artist in resident. And it took a pandemic and learning how to Zoom to actually make this club a reality. And the coolest part is we're coming up on a year.
Yeah.
Club started a year ago, February, with Donald Kinney as our original speaker.
Good.
I think that's
Yep.
cool. I want to summarize our year. We began this club. Since we began this club, we've not only enjoyed getting together for nearly a year, but we've had several field trips, some great speakers, including a Pulitzer Prize winner, a photographer from New York, and many of you too have spoken. Most recently, we've had 18 photographers join together as a group, and we created a hugely successful show right here in Fairfax. As you all know, our club's open to everybody, all levels, and I will say every single month I learned something new from one of our speakers, and I hope it's been helpful to all of you as well. Go to the next slide. We also have one of the goals of this club is to help bring photographers together, share ideas, and learn from each other, and see what other amazing photographers are doing. We also have a very active Facebook group, as you all know. We have only a few rules. You can post up to twice a day, and there can be 2 albums, or it can just be 2 posts, but just 2. That's all you're allowed. And each month we have a photo challenge that will hopefully get you out shooting more. And to find our Facebook page, search for the Fairfax Photo Club. And I think you all know that. Lastly, it's my goal to get a wide variety of speakers, and I'm constantly searching for unique photographers. So if you are interested in speaking, let me know. We are booked through April. And next month, Mary Serpos, I'm sure some of you know her. She's a very creative and unique photographer. I have a flyer. Let's see, shirking on my responsibilities here. There she is. And then in March, we have a very cool guy speaking. His name is Jeff Lewis. He is not only an amazing landscape photographer, he makes giant prints, and they're incredibly sharp and amazing, but he's also a meteorologist, and he runs a weather service for landscape photographers. So I think he's going to be really interesting. I'm excited to have him come. And he can talk. You think I can talk? He can talk. He's a million miles a minute. He's amazing. So I feel silly saying this, but I'd like to introduce Donald and hold on. I have to get out of the share screen. There we go. I would love for Donald and Terry to speak a little bit about 2 things, about field trips and about what's going on with the robberies, because I know both of you are pretty aware of what's happening. So I thought it would be good to talk about that.
Well, I'll start with the robberies. I don't know how much of all of you are aware of the armed robberies against several photographers in San Francisco, including one of our own at Pro Bono Photography, who was robbed at gunpoint half a block away from the police station, the Central Police Station in San Francisco. And so we have another group that has been put together looking to encourage the police to do more about this. It has gotten to the point where these thugs, and maybe it's the same group that are stealing all the bicycles in Marin, I don't know, but they are following photographers after protests and after various venue shoots in the city, you know, at the locations that are pretty normal that you would go shoot at night or whatever, and basically sticking a gun in somebody's face and basically stealing their gear. And there was a recent one where a destination photographer from Dallas at the Palace of Fine Arts was robbed, or attempted to rob. Now he fought them off. Not a good idea to fight them off. I mean, because these guys had guns, and even if they don't shoot you, they're going to hit you in the head with a gun, and you don't just fall down and get up like on TV. So anyway, it's a serious matter, and so we have come up with a variety of rules. Stephanie and I can share them, not rules, but guidance, I should say, on things to do to stay safe. And when one of the key ones is try not to look like a photographer. That's not easy to do if you're carrying around a lot of heavy gear, but it's where you park, and being aware, working with a buddy system and things like that. So maybe Stephanie could post some of these guidance. I can get them over to her, and it would be helpful for people to just be aware, particularly if you're photographing in the city. But there's also been cases where people have followed people home, and there's been cases where, and again, I compare it to the bicycles because they're doing the same thing with these fancy bicycles and following people home and then coming back late in the middle of the night and stealing them out of their garages. So there are a lot of people, I guess they've given up on the idea of stealing cell phones and figured there's a lot more money in cameras and bicycles. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what's going on. Don, I'll turn it over to you. You can start the talk on.
Yeah, I had a friend yesterday got robbed down on the San Mateo coast at one of the beaches. And he just got bowled over and somebody took off with his gear and tripod and everything. And he's the only person there on the beach. And the robber got away, and luckily he wasn't injured too badly. So, but it's a very frightening thing for him to, it's going to affect the way he continues doing his photography. So I posted on the group page his story. So if anyone wants to take a look at it, it's
Thank you.
very sobering. Yeah.
I didn't know he was injured. What happened?
No, he was not injured badly. So yeah, thank God. He could have been killed,
But it stays with you because my friend Leon, it was hard. He didn't get back out into the field for at least another month. I mean, he's back out, but he's very cautious. So as we all are right now.
Group.
I'd like to make a recommendation, and that is that a press release of some kind be prepared and sent to every photo website, Petapixel, North American Nature Photographers, professional photographers, everything. Just everybody has to be made aware, especially women. And I'll post this tomorrow to Women in Wildlife Photography.
Mhm.
This is not just San Francisco.
Yeah.
And
the guy from Petapixel was on one of our meetings.
Cool.
We're going to write an article on this. He was looking for more people that have been accosted, because he wanted to be able to drop more names and stuff like that. There's a lot of talk, but not everybody's putting their names out there, or want to be interviewed. He just wants to interview them.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you know something, if you get it over to me, I'll get it over to Leon, who's running this group, and you can get over to the guy at Petapixel. So
cool.
It seems like it would be so easy for the police to just set these guys up, just.
Yeah. I just don't think the police have considered it to be such a high priority.
Yeah.
Until someone gets.
Property crime. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So
Gets killed. Yeah.
it's high profile people who have to,
That's right.
people who have swing a lot of weight in San Francisco, who can get any kind of time budget out of the cops. It's really on the people. It's really on us in the mainstream media. The Women in Wildlife group, we advise each other how to protect ourselves, because we're women who go out in the woods, which is not the same as the city, but I mean, predation on females is still a big thing. And, you got to know self-defense, you got to have a siren, you got to have bear spray, but basically you got to have the up here to use it. And that's not actually who we are. And so it's on us to incorporate that somehow. I think.
Well, that's the right spirit, is getting everybody involved. And so I know that quite a few groups have gotten, and we've engaged San Francisco street photographers, photo walks, carnival photographers. You know, they just all need to be aware of how vulnerable it is. So it's good to have it in this discussion as well. Also, the other Marin Photo Club is fully aware. They've had some robberies over there as well. It's just not, you know, I mean, I've been photographing the city for years, and I don't do night photography anymore. I mean, I just don't want to take the risks. It's not even the gear. You know, the gear is insured. The issue is these thugs. They'll hit you in the head. They'll shoot you. They'll knife you. You know what I mean? That's not the way I want to go. All right, we should turn this over to a more positive note.
Yes.
I don't talk about field trips.
Safe ones, no.
Yes.
Well, Sandy had a good idea about Point Reyes Station. And I think that's a dynamite idea. There's all kinds of stuff out there. Marty Knapp's studio and
Marty's a good guy.
yeah, Terry knows Marty real well.
That would be fun to start there and maybe check out his work,
Yeah.
and
There's-
and then go off.
There's an old barn out there worth exploring out in the field, and Toby's feed barn usually has a good exhibit going, and there's a very photogenic town, I think. So
And I saw Sandy mentioned perhaps having Carlos meet us there. I would
yeah,
love to
yeah.
see.
Carlos has COVID. He and Rebecca have COVID. They're
Oh,
down
right.
sick right now.
Terrible.
Wait a while on that.
I just want to remind you to put Carlos Parada on the list of who we should have as speakers,
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie. And you know, when I said that he could meet us there, I think that he would be better. He goes out he doesn't stay in Point Reyes Station.
Right.
He goes out to what he calls church. And I don't know if he would want us to go with him there. And he just lies down in the wilderness and waits until the wildlife trusts him and starts taking photos of him. But he spoke at the San Geronimo Community Center and as an artist, and he was fantastic. And I definitely want him to be one of the speakers here.
Have you invited
Yeah.
him? Did you ask him if he was interested?
I did not, but
If
I
you want
heard.
to ask him, then if he's interested, I'll give him a call.
Okay,
Just keep in mind, he and Rebecca are down with COVID right now. Give it a little time.
well, hopefully.
Well,
it-
we're booked through April, so, you know, it would be.
Cool.
What about Miguel Parias?
He didn't have a very, it doesn't look like he's updating a lot, so I'm not sure. I just, you know, he's such a sweet guy. I would be open to it, but I'm open. I mean, it's fine.
Well, it might inspire him to create too.
Good point. Donald has a friend, I think in April, right? That's gonna be,
Yes, Jan Bell, who is my mentor and a fabulous photographer, award-winning. He has a book out now, which is a story in itself. But yeah, he's a landscape photographer, does workshops on Lake Superior, and all around nice guy. He
and
comes
he's
out
down
here.
for April, right?
Yes, he sure is. He's looking forward to it.
So now we're up to May. It's great.
What about Marty Knapp?
Good idea.
I can talk to Marty.
What I've been trying to do, just so you all know what's been kind of piquing my interest, is I've been trying to not have everybody be a white man. Nothing against white men, but it's been like
Mhm.
80% white men. So I've been trying to find women and people of color just to
Thank you.
different perspectives.
Very
So
good.
that's my goal, you know. And it's kind of creepy the way I stalk people on Instagram. I found a guy who I just thought was amazing, and I've written to him twice, and he still hasn't replied. I said I love your work and kind of warmed him up, and then I asked, and I did tell him we have a zero budget, and I haven't heard back. So I'm really hoping he, you know, like that was what I loved so much about Bob Carey. And I'm just trying to let you all know what I'm looking for, so that it's not just landscape and not just street. I just want to try to get a big variety as much as we can, you know, as much as possible. So we have a woman next month, which I'm super psyched about.
Oh, great.
I can ask a friend of mine who's down in La Jolla if he's interested. He's an amazing photographer and has done it professionally. Worked with, I think, with Zinstein and other artists in New York. But
Sounds
he's not.
great.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Why don't you send me the website?
Okay,
That'd be fun.
I could show you a picture. He just sent me. Hold on.
Beautiful.
Yeah, he's an incredible artist.
All right.
We also might want to talk with Suze Lipman down in Mill Valley. She's been getting a lot of shows, but what she does that I find so sweet is San Francisco street people, street scenes. Should check her out.
If you have somebody that you think might be interested, send me their website. And again, I'm just trying to mix it up so that it's not like all landscape in a row. I'm trying to just get as big a variety as I can. I think Mary is going to be very good, a good unique vision. You know, I think you all will like her.
I would love to hear from Mary.
And Jeff's a character, and he's really good too, and he's pure landscape. So, and then we have Jan Bell. What does Jan Bell specialize in?
Landscape photography. He's very design oriented. He's a graphic artist, and that sort of translates to his work. So
two landscapes in a row. So we won't have any more for a couple months. But
yeah.
All right, great. Yeah, just send me emails or websites. I'd love to look.
Will do.
All right, let's go forward. It's going to be a short one tonight, guys. Should I tell you I'll go out of order and I'll tell you our, I'm running out of words today. I'll tell you our challenge.
Oh, okay.
Let's do weather, rain. Get out your gear, get out your umbrellas, get out your rubbers or whatever you call them, your rubber boots. And my husband's laughing.
I got some.
Is this
All
for
right.
February or just the rest of January?
This is for January, or this is for until our next meeting.
Until the next meeting, right?
Until our next meeting, yeah.
I love that.
All right.
I love your photograph there, the guy with the umbrella. Is that Sean?
No, it was some guy walking down the pathway at Target, you know, the Target pathway.
Yes, yes.
And I was bummed I didn't have my real camera and I had my cell phone. But the good thing about having my cell phone is he was just 5 feet away from me. And as he walked by, he couldn't hear me shooting. So I think he would have been pissed off. He didn't have a real friendly vibe. So I probably wouldn't have got it had I had a real camera. But
well, you changed the umbrella to orange. It was red, wasn't it originally? Or
I blame Lightroom. I just downloaded the app. And so I've been kind of getting goofy with it.
Cool.
All right. So now let's see. I'm going to open this back up. Bear with me. I'm being very slow today. There we go. So let's talk about our images. And Alina's not here. Bonnie's not here. Carolyn's not here. Diane's not here. Donald, you're first.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were going to start with Martha.
Oh,
Martha,
Martha, you
yeah.
want to start?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's getting kind of late for me. Thank you.
I totally get it.
Okay, could we start with the little otter first? Yeah, that baby.
Oh,
Okay. I took this. This is a
Sorry, hang on for 1 sec. I want to make this bigger. Is this a good size for everybody?
yeah.
Yep, it's good.
Go for
okay.
it.
This is an endangered sea otter, a juvenile. Took it on July 16th in Morro Bay. Technicalities first. I shot it with a Sony A9 with a 7300 lens on it, full extension to 300. I had some light, as you can see. I shot it at f/18 at 1/200th. The ISO was 640 and the EV was set to 0. My practice is to plan my photos in every possible detail before I go out. I mean, I have a calendar which I've shared with George, in which I record the breeding seasons and the appearance times of plants and animals and the times of day and the tides and all of that. I use an app called Photo Pills that I recommend because you can set it to tell you anywhere on the planet when's the blue light, when's the golden light, moonrise, moonsets, etc. So with all of this in mind, Jim and I were in Paso Robles for a wedding. I wanted to go over to Morro Bay to look for the sea otters. Before we left, I'd done the research. I knew there'd be pups in the bay in July. So the first day we go down to scope the scene. It's sunny, good light, it's cool, not much wind. And the great planner had the wrong lens on her camera.
Mhm.
So they were far enough out that I just couldn't get a good shot. And so the next day, another good low tide in the morning. We went out a little later to get the right tide. And this time I had the right lens, the 7300. And there's a sidewalk that goes along the bay and above the bay, and bingo, there it was. A pair of sea otter pups. They spend 5 hours of every day sleeping. And this one had just rolled over to give this prayer position. And I was squatted behind a hedge and I had the lens through the hedge.
Yeah.
And there it is. Yes, Donald?
You're muted.
I'm sorry, I was just making noise there. I'll mute
Oh,
myself. I'm sorry.
okay. I wanted to be as close to eye level as I could get, which isn't much because I was like 25 feet above the water at low tide. But there it is. So do the planning and expect that nature will give you a surprise. And she did.
What time of day did you say you shot this?
10:56 a.m. Any questions? Okay, let's go to the other one. Okay. Sometimes the light's all shining on me. By the way, both of these have won us little awards, so that's nice. So the technicals, I took this June 3, 2019 at 9:27 a.m. with the Sony A9. I had just a 70 lens on it. Technicals if you want them. So blah, blah, blah on the planning. This shot was just a stone accident. George and I were driving up the Fairfax Road for one of our weekly rambles, and I had packed this one lens, the 2870 for vistas, and we were going to do a hike from Rock Springs to the High Marsh Trail to the Azalea Meadow and back, which we did. And so we get up to the top of the Fairfax and we turn left on West Ridgecrest, and George is driving, and then the sun breaks through the fog. Stop the car. And we just got out, and there we were in this cathedral of trees with the incense of the petrichor, and there we were wandering around in the glory, drunk on grace. That was a good day, George.
That was a great, memorable day.
It was. And we did do High Marsh and Azalea, and I've got those shots too. Questions, anybody?
That's a beautiful shot. Absolutely beautiful.
I love the light.
I know where that is, so I know exactly what you're feeling.
Yeah. Drunkard stoned on grace.
Martha?
Yes.
All right, well, let's move on. We now will have Donald.
Oh, okay. Well, these are two photographs. And thank you, by the way, Stephanie, for the use of your studio for our show. It was very generous of you doing that for us, and we all had a good time. And I know, really, it's really appreciate it. We had a good turnout, and we had even dogs came, so that made it. No cats. I didn't see any cats, but that's okay. Anyway, this is from my first gallery one-man show. Mill Valley Library invited me to show my photographs at one of those first Friday things. And I had a whole bunch of photographs to show, and it's a fairly confined space, but I wanted to show as many photographs as I could. So I came up with the idea of putting two photographs in one frame. That way I could show twice as many photographs. But I learned that for a show, you want to space your frames out, give them some breathing room. So I packed everything real tightly together. And so I learned my lesson. So in subsequent shows, I've spread things out appropriately so people have a little bit of space between frames to rest their eyes. But these two, and also this taught me what a diptych is. I didn't know two photographs together or three photographs together for a triptych. I had no idea what that was. So, and theoretically, a diptych is supposed to, one of the photographs or images is supposed to feed off the other, or contribute to the story, or somehow contribute to the other one. And this probably, they're similar subjects, but they don't really help each other. They're just similar, they're both water and both patterns, but that's about all they have in common. So that's another lesson I learned. Photography is a continual learning journey. I think everybody can agree. We continually learn these things. So that's what I learned about this. You can see my self-portrait in the bubbles, and that was in shade. If you're taking pictures of bubbles at the beach, you have to be fast. You have to get in there real quickly and before they all pop, so stand right over them with maybe a zoom lens. I think I was using here, I don't know, with the F14 or something or other. The bottom one is ripples on Alpine Dam, the Alpine Lake. Probably on a gray day, the wind whips up a little bit and makes these thumbprint kind of ripples that I really like. Very abstract, but two black and white. Well, actually, the top is color. There's color in the top one, but more or less monochromatic shots of water. I like water. So that's my two. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I like the little peace signs and all the water
That's what I
drops.
see. That's what I.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
My legs spread out on both sides of the puddle. But as I said, you have to be quick to get out there before they all pop.
Sorry, I forget that I'm on sharing.
Thank you.
Are you ready, Mr. George?
I am. All right. So when the time came to pick the two pictures, I said, well, I want to show two things that are different and that show different sides of what I've been doing. And I would say that unlike what Martha described, I'm not, while I am a planner in my professional life, I'm not much of a planner around my photography. I'm more of an opportunistic person. I see it and I go, oh, there's something that's, I think it's going to really wants to be photographed. And so I do it. So here, this picture, the story with this is I had gone to San Francisco on my bicycle for an event that was in the early evening. And I was returning later in the evening via the bridge, again, on my bike. And it's at the time of day when you can ride your bicycle on the west sidewalk on the bridge. During the middle of the day and in the weeks, during the week, you have to go on the east side. But this was a west side ride. This was October 27th of last year. And it was just before 8 o'clock in the evening, as I was returning back to where I had parked my car, which was at the foot of the bridge in the Cavallo Point area. And this just stopped me in my tracks, this view of the bridge like that. So I pulled the bike over, got my iPhone out, because this is an iPhone photo. Picked the phone out as I think, I can't remember what aspect setting I used on this, but I used, it's an iPhone 13. It's got the 3 cameras. I used the extra wide angle camera, so which is equivalent to a 13 millimeter. That's what produced this picture. And it technicals, which I didn't set, of course, because it's iPhone. It's sent pretty much automatic, but it shot ISO 800 f1.8 in a ninth of a second.
Whoa.
And so that's handheld, looking, up, just as you would if you were standing at the foot of the bridge. And it is, those bridge sections they really are, each one, it's just a colossus. It's something really impressive to see. And at night, it's extra special. And I thought the lighting was fantastic, the colors. So I was really happy with that as something that, like I said, cycling around and it just got me. So let's move to the next one. Okay, this is the weasel. And Martha had one where we were out together, and I also have one where we were out together. This is at Abbott's Lagoon. And here we were, let's see, I'm going to go to that one. Yeah, get my technical details out. Okay, this was in April 19th of 2021. We had hiked out to the lagoon, out to the beach, and we were returning. As we're returning, I noticed a hole and a little bit of something moving in the hole next to the trail, almost back to the trailhead. And I kind of said, okay, let's stop and just watch. I had my camera out. The first motion, the first sight, when he did pop his head out, I was not ready. So I just basically got the camera out, opened up the zoom on it to maximum, trained it on the opening of the hole, and hoped that he would show his head again. And indeed he did, and click, click, click. And there it was. So this was taken with my Nikon D3500, which when I'm out on an expedition like this, it's generally is set to the sport setting that they have, which sort of optimizes for moving people or animals, which means that it's going to be short shutter speed. So in fact, this was ISO 400, fully extended. It's a 70 to 300 millimeter lens that at full extension, it's f6.3. And it's a crop sensor, so it's sort of, I guess, 450 millimeters in that sense, and it's 1,000th of a second. So that is the long-tailed weasel, and I cherish that picture because that makes me think of the place and what I was doing. And I also just think he's a real cutie. So I carry the Nikon with me on my bicycle. I carry it when I'm out hiking. And here is, if we can switch back to just show me, to switch out of camera, out of screen sharing for a moment. I just have a couple things I wanted to show, or maybe I'll just show it in the gallery view. So here is my camera bag. It's just an REI backpack, and the camera goes into the bag, and whenever I get to a place where I'm going to take pictures, it comes out and goes around my neck. So that's that's my story. And I think I've probably taken my full time there.
Hey Peg, I have a question for you. You had the protest photo, right? And you're muted. You're muted, Peg. Because I'm just realizing I have landscapes for you, but I think you showed protest photos.
Oh, I did. I changed those.
I
Yeah.
was just realizing as I was looking at the list that do you want to just talk about the photos that you do have up here, or do you want to send them to somebody else? can
Yeah.
see? Go ahead and email me and we'll go to somebody else.
Okay.
And then let's see. So next would be, is Joanne here? Joanne is not here. Mallory, you're up. And Mallory, I'm sorry because you didn't send me a JPEG. I took a screenshot. I hope you don't mind. And I'm not sharing screen, and you're muted, Mallory.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna just do older, pictures that we've had, but that's fine, whatever works.
Is it big enough? Can you all see it?
I can see it.
I can see it.
You can make it, you can squeeze it bigger, or whatever the opposite of squeeze is.
Well, because it's a screenshot, it's not allowing me to.
So I can on my iPad. So
you can all make your you can all increase the size of your, if you need to, increase the size of your.
So that was a I think it was a film photo. I don't do anything really, just let me see. I have I'm gonna look at your thing, how you got the shot. So how I get shots is I kind of walk, and I'm not looking for shots, but I get a little kind of tap on my shoulder, or things get very quiet, and I know that that's a shot. And when I get lucky, which is a lot of the time, I don't know actually whether I shot this one. I know is film, but I use my phone, I use a point and shoot, I use a Canon, and I really can't tell the difference between any of them if I'm doing a show or anything. I don't know which one I used. and I don't care. I just care for the image. And usually it's just something, it's almost like a physical thing. Things get quiet, and it just like, there's my shot, and I get pointed to the shot. I have no idea what any of the numbers are. It's just the shot. And so this was taken in Paris. I think it was near the what the hell is the center? I forgot the name of the center. But and it was a reflection of, I just got caught by the reflection of that was in a window of this particular building. That's all. It was not a big deal. It was just another beautiful Paris place, as they have so many of them. So that's all I have to say.
You do your own printing, right? Or you used to?
Yeah, these I printed. Yeah, the two things that I'm going to show, I printed in my basement, and that was in Fez, Morocco. And again, it was one of those moments where things got, it's sort of like a psychic tap on my shoulder. It was just, there it was. And everything aligned, and it was very easy. And that I think I don't know what I either did it with a Canon or I did it with a point and shoot. I have no idea. But I just the shot just absolutely caught me. And those are the ones that I know work when I get that moment of quiet, and I get caught. And then it just printed up. I hardly ever manipulate pictures. And so this is just how it was. It was in Fez in Morocco. It's almost like a town, but it's I mean, I think it is a town within Fez, and it goes on forever and ever, and it's really easy to get lost in the Medina, which is the market.
It's a great image.
It
It's
is.
beautiful.
I like it. I like it
you.
a lot.
Mallory, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Layering.
It's like a Carter Bresson, you know.
Yes.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
You're-
mine too.
Cortege and Bresson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you caught the moment.
Yeah,
And it
it's
was-
always, for me, it's always the moment. Anytime I try to plan something, it just sucks. It doesn't work. So I
There was
just want
something,
to,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
There was some, when all the images were up on the walls, there was something about your images that really, you could just tell they were filmed. There was just something a little different about them that screamed black and white film to me.
Yeah. And you know, what's pretty amazing is, like, I don't know if it's still happening, but all the digital pictures eventually fade. Film doesn't ever fade, you know, the film itself. So people are spending, I think, a lot of money to get these digital pictures that I don't know how long they're going to last, you know, so that's kind of interesting too.
Right, I'm gonna
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Thank you.
quickly download pegs. Just feel so bad that I didn't have them. I'm so sorry.
I gotta go, you guys. Love you. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Take care. Get well, Martha.
Buenas
Bye.
noches.
Bear with me, I just need a second. Sorry. I was sure somebody was gonna get left out. Go. Peg, are you ready to go, or you want me to go to the next person?
Yeah, I could go.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So wait, we're not gonna see these two tonight. That'll be another night. Where is Peg?
That's
That's
great.
great.
Peg, where are you?
Who did that
Wow.
one? That's so funny.
That's Raven.
There's one of
Just
them.
asked it. There's
Oh,
one
there
of
they
them.
are.
There we are.
All right. Okay. So I always go for my real passion is photographs that tell stories, and especially social justice related stories. So this is at the border wall in Nogales, Arizona. And my husband and I went there a couple of years in a row for something called a Border Encuentro. And it was pretty much a gathering of hundreds of people on both sides of the wall. And there were panels, there was music. Just to the right of the frame, there's a big stage that was set up on the Mexican side of the border. There were bands playing, and there's, food, but it's really just, it's about talking about the state of the border. And it's a 3-day weekend affair. So anyway, one thing I was noticing when I was looking closely at this image is how much things had changed from the first year that we went to when I took this the second year. And if you look real closely, you can see between the iron bars, there's a metal mesh. The first year we were there was no metal mesh, and people could hold hands across the border. And, it was, people really had a good time talking with each other through the border. And by this year, you could barely touch fingertips through the wire. And within about a month of the time this picture was taken, there were long lines of concertina, razor wire, big coils that completely covered this. And where this post is, that somebody had drawn on this with chalk. Basically, this railing and this post were meant to keep people out of there. It was like a buffer zone, but everybody just sort of jumped over it. Anyway, I just felt like I love the message of the photo and the graphic quality, and it just worked for me. It's used a Canon camera with probably, I think it was with 18 to 135 millimeter zoom, and that's about it. Any
Did
questions?
you print it?
I didn't. It's digital.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
so this is this photo was taken at 7:30 in the morning in the San Francisco Financial District. This was the very beginning of a day-long activity. The women in the front here are with the red ribbon skirts are Native American women with a group called Idle No More SF Bay, and they were leading a very long march down Montgomery Street, and the purpose and what they were doing was leading a blockade of the road that was going to last the whole day. It was a climate justice rally, and they were going to people in environmental groups, indigenous groups, youth groups, were going to be shutting down financial institutions on Montgomery Street that were financing the fossil fuel industry. And over the course of the day, the 2 blocks that they were going to be blockading were painted with just a massive street mural that covered, curb to curb for 2 long city blocks, and it was gorgeous. And it was depicting a future without, a positive future for future generations. So anyway, that's what this is.
It was amazing.
And-
I was there. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
It was
I think that may
fantastic.
have been, yeah. Yep. And yeah, I was thinking about the process of taking a picture like this, and I'm sure Stephanie and Terry have done this routine, but it's interesting trying to, there's usually a handful of photographers and people filming at the beginning in front of these marches. And it's a real dance that happens as the photographers sort of weave in and out, trying to leave space for each other, not get in front of everybody else's shot. But it is a seriously amazing dance that happens. And especially if like you have to plan a ways ahead for, let's say with this shot, I wanted to crouch down to get more of an upshot. So you have to place yourself someplace ahead and try to time it so that you don't get trampled and you don't get, you don't get in other people's way for too long. So it's an interesting challenge.
And walking backwards.
And walking backwards and not tripping is really a challenge too. Yeah. So that's it.
Great.
All right, Martin, you're up. And Martin asked that does that help, Martin?
Just show the left side first. Okay. And the color shifts between the two, but so this photo was taken. So this is Marrakesh, Morocco wool market. It's 1978, and for the show that the club had, I only had 2 photos that were framed already, and that's all I had time. Well, I had a few, but only 2 that I really liked, and this was one of them. And it was taken early in my photographic career. I had gotten my first single lens reflex camera and multiple lenses as a graduation present from dental school in '71. And I started getting considerable experience in street photography in New York City, where I'm from, and then San Francisco, and then New Orleans and Florida and Puerto Rico. I started taking my camera everywhere. And when I had been at NYU, teaching at NYU, faculty were allowed to take courses for free. So I go downtown and take courses in photography, street photography. And then when I got to University of Pacific, I became close friends with the people in the photography department. And then there were some other photographers around, and they inspired me. And then I started using my photos that I was taking. I'd use them as title slides in my lectures. And so that was getting to be a lot of fun sharing that. And in '78, I traveled to Spain and Morocco with one of my pals who was also a photographer and a dentist too. And we carried 2 Minoltas, SRT 101s. And one had Ektachrome 160 in it. The other one had Kodachrome 64. We also had some rolls of Aquachrome. Every one of those Aquachrome slides shifted over the years. The Kodachrome 64 has stayed beautifully. This was printed in the early 80s. It was Cibachrome. And street photography in Spain was not too difficult, as my friend and I both spoke a little Spanish, but Morocco was a whole different story. And a little after Tetuan and Fez, we finally arrived in Marrakesh, and by then I was not as intimidated, and I became more comfortable with street photography, especially in those narrow streets in the shooks. And luckily, when we were in the shuk in Marrakesh, I had the camera with Ektachrome on it, in it, and folks there were not always receptive to being photographed, so you had to be quick and ready. And because he often got only one opportunity, and luckily I had the right lens on the camera. I can't remember the setting, but as I was in the shuk, I had taken some photos and I had the setting where I wanted it, and stuck the lens in the opening and quickly composed the photograph. And that's how I got that. And it was turned out to be a very positive experience because I got a travel award at the Marin County Affair for it, and honorable mention. So that felt really good. And the next photograph, this is Miami Beach. It was a hotel stairwell. My wife Naomi is often my spotter when we're, as we know, when we travel with spouses or significant others, they have to have a lot of patience. But she often spots stuff. This one I caught in my own. Miami is a street photographer's paradise. It's got great lighting, architecture, colors, people, and interiors. And I was attracted to the, as my photography increased, I was getting attracted more and more to architectural details and lighting and colors and lines. And from the street, the lobby looked really intriguing. I liked the furniture in it. They had period furniture in it that was upholstered really beautifully. And it was well lit and inviting. And in we walked. And then I had no one bothering me. I had plenty of time to compose the photograph and take it. This was with, I was into digital photography by this time. This was with, I think, a Nikon Coolpix, a P5100. But settings and stuff, I can't tell you. The only manipulation I did to the photo was in one of the down areas in the lower left corner, the turquoise area, was a sign that said restrooms and vending, and had an arrow. I took that out. That's the only manipulation I did because I thought it detracted from the composition. And that's it. Thanks.
Great.
Oh, and by the way, I'm really enjoying this club. It's meant a lot to me. And I've learned so much. And I appreciate the comments. Thank you.
Right, Miss Raven, our cover model.
Well, what can I say? So, I'm a lot more like George when it comes to photography. I'm more of an opportunist. The interesting thing is, so are ravens. So we have, let's say, like a symbiotic relationship. So I'm going to say I have spent in the past lots of time at Ocean Beach in San Francisco. And there's literally just an explosion of ravens there. In fact, ravens in San Francisco have totally expanded their territories and have taken over neighborhoods where it used to be just crows. But the ravens have booted them out. But anyway, so this particular photo originally was in color and it was daytime, probably early afternoon. I don't specifically remember the exact settings. It was probably ISO 100. And I, a lot of times, would feed them peanuts and stuff. They're very engaging, and I've worked in them in wildlife rehabilitation. So I just love their expressions. They're definitely, probably, at least my perspective, the most intelligent of all birds. Just the way they look at you, it's very different than from the way a sparrow would look at you. So I took the photo, and later on, and I took it with a Nikon D7000. And later on, I thought, I think this is like a really good portrait. So I did manipulate it to monochrome, and then I blackened out the background. And she just really spoke to me. And so interestingly, at the show, my family showed up the last day, and my cousin Tony just loved the photo and she ended up buying it. So I'm really grateful. So it's now hanging in their house in the hills in El Cerrito. And so that's kind of it. I mean, it's like I really love them, and photographing them is just a lot of fun. So it's like a mutual opportunity. They're opportunistic and I'm opportunistic. So it kind of works well. So you just have to allow them to feel comfortable. And sometimes, obviously, giving a bird seeds or peanuts, and ravens love peanuts. So it kind of goes hand in hand. So that's kind of everything about that. It's just, it was just a good opportunity. Now, my next photo, I have to say, was it was kind of a little more planned. This was taken the summer, actually, May of 2021. I was working in Seward, Alaska. And it was May, and it was during that full pink flower moon. So I took my camera to work. So I got off work like 11 at night. And I just had this vision that I wanted to get a shot of the moon literally rising atop the Chugach mountain range. So when I left work and I saw it starting to come up, I go, oh my God. And I just like ran to this one area, and I just kept walking along the waterfront. It wasn't totally dark out. The sky was still kind of like a late blue hour because it stays light there. By May, it doesn't get really any kind of darkness till like just past midnight. And so I just started shooting. So I had my ISO bumped up probably to about 6,400, and I don't remember the exact shutter speed. It was probably like maybe 1/50th of a second. But anyway, I just kept shooting, and I just kept seeing the way it was just laying on top of the mountains. And I spent about 2 hours, and I just kept watching it. Eventually, of course, it came up completely. But so that was sort of a planned event, and it was just, I just was really excited about it. So that's the story of that one.
Fabulous shot. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
I
Thank
thought
you.
you had it that was cut out textile in front of it.
What's that?
When I first saw the photo, I thought the mountains were cut out textile or paper that was printed and cut out in front of the moon.
No, it's just,
I didn't realize it was real.
yeah, it's real.
Fabulous.
So in Seward, so out of Anchorage, so to the east, you have the Chugach Mountains, which is also a national forest. So Seward lies on Resurrection Bay. So on the east side of the bay, you have the Chugach Mountains, and on the west side are the Kenai Mountains. So this was actually across the bay. So those are real mountains. Yes.
I think they're both great. I love the bird one.
Yeah, I mean, ravens are amazing. I've gotten some, I mean, they're actually very entertaining.
Well,
I've gotten some funny shots of them too, but this
But-
one is just like,
you
it was like
caught
she
it.
was
You caught
posing.
it was. I mean, you made me see it a different way, the bird itself.
Yeah.
And I just love this one. It's
Yeah,
almost
it's just-
funny.
Yeah, they have just so much expression and personality. They are corvids, which is the family of ravens, crows, magpies, jays, nutcrackers. They have very large brains. Some of the extensive studies that have been done on them have determined that they're about sometimes at the level of like a 5 or 6-year-old. They can
Mhm.
use tools, they can solve problems. So there's a lot of intelligence in their eyes. Like,
Mhm.
I love all birds, and to be quite honest, ravens are smarter than like bald eagles.
Mhm.
I
Oh, yeah.
worked with both because I worked at a rescue center rehab in Sitka, Alaska for a couple of years. And we had both, we had an injured raven and we had eagles. And eagles in their first year have a pretty high mortality rates, like 50%. But they're kind of a doofus compared to ravens. And if anybody's ever interested, there's this amazing video on YouTube from about, I don't know, it's probably about 15 years ago. It's in Southeast Alaska. There's an eagle on a beach with a salmon, and this raven goes up to it and repeatedly pulls its tail. And you know, the eagle's getting annoyed, but the raven keeps going up, persistent, persistent. And finally, probably after about 10 minutes, the eagle was so frustrated, took off, left the fish, the raven got the fish. So they definitely will outsmart them. So they're pretty incredible.
But they're very collaborative with each other.
They totally are. It's just like you wonder sometimes, now what conversation is going on here?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
All right, Sandy, your turn.
Hi, sorry, I had to leave because somebody was knocking at the door and I wasn't expecting anybody. I got a little scared. But I think it's okay now. Anyway, I'm realizing that I don't have any moving targets in the two that I chose for the show. And as everybody else was presenting, I was thinking about how I got my first camera when I was in 1969, in order to take photographs when I went to graduate school in East Africa. And I had, it was a Canon SLR and 35 millimeter. And so I started practicing with it. And my good friend was giving me lessons, and he was a photographer, and he put me in touch with, he worked at a publishing company, and he put me in touch with a publisher who hired me to, I sold the first photograph that I ever took. And then when I was in East Africa, I had applied for a job at Children's TV Workshop that makes Sesame Street, and they offered me a job as a producer, but I was going to Africa, so I had to make a choice. So I had this sort of assignment to do a photo series on mothers and children. And I was very serious about it when I was in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And in this one place where I almost got killed taking a picture of a mother and child. I didn't speak Kikuyu, that this particular mother's, it was in what's called the largest slum in the world, Bira. It wasn't that large then. It was just a place where people squatted. And I was, the father of the child appeared out of nowhere with a machete, this big, coming at me to stop taking the picture, because he assumed that I was from the city council and there to take pictures of people that should be thrown out. And I was literally frozen, paralyzed with fear. And I couldn't move. Somebody had to grab me by the elbow and move me out of there. So I was thinking tonight, as other people were presenting, that the two that I chose for the show are the stillest, safest photographs that I could possibly have taken. And both of them are painterly. And this one was, I took this in 2017 in Southern California, and it's just a succulent, and that I call Fibonacci, because it's an example of how nature repeats numbers. And I took it with a cell phone. And I had never used Lightroom. I'm just learning Lightroom. And Stephanie helped me clean this up. And I had a real resistance to taking away some of the brown spots on this, because I wanted to let the viewer know that this was real, that it wasn't a painting. And so, but I didn't. We took everything away, and it is like a painting.
Mhm.
And actually this one, someone has bought, saw it at the show and has bought it. It hasn't changed hands yet, but she just told me recently that she still intends to do it. So we can go on to the next one. So this one has a little bit more movement in it, but it also is painterly. And it's Richardson Cove in Mill Valley, where I go a lot. I took it about a year ago. And I'm not sure, it probably was during the fires when we got such fantastic sunsets. But I had taken the picture. So I caught Stephanie and some other people at the show turning this around. Oh, it's upside down. And what happened was that, and this is the way I intended it. And what happened was that I was showing some of my photographs to Velvy Appleton, or he saw it. I had posted it on Facebook and he saw it. And he said, what if you turn it upside down? Yeah. And I liked it when it was turned upside down. It made it not realistic and something to think about. Something not just a still life, really. I made it into more of a still life. So that's the story of these two photographs. And I just want to say that when I take I consider myself a real beginner, even though I started a long time ago. And these two are both cell phone photographs. But I also take portraits a lot. And especially when I travel, and I have some 35 millimeter slides that I need to work on that are wonderful portraits that I took when I was in China that are going to be fun to work with in Lightroom. But so this was my first showing of any photographs, and the first time I framed any of my photographs. So it was very exciting for me.
Sandy,
It's beautiful.
can I say the upside down effect? I like it a lot, and that's quite a discovery, but that's also a technique sometimes they have for evaluating a composition. By turning the photograph upside down, if it looks the same or better, or usually it's uncanny.
Here you go again, Stephanie.
It's if it holds up both ways, it shows it's a good composition.
Yeah, I know that Stephanie likes it on its side.
Oh,
No, I just
that's kind of cool.
No, you told
experimenting.
me that
really
night.
fast.
But I
There you
don't
go.
remember much. It was very,
Yeah.
very stressful weekend. Fun though.
But yeah, I think that I prefer it this way. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it that way. Yeah. There's only one thing. If you got the horizon a little bit more straight, I think I'd like it even better, because
You say straight.
it's tilted just very slightly, just enough that I can notice.
Yeah, you're right.
But
And
that's easy to fix. Next time you're in Photoshop, just But maybe you like it this way. I don't know. But
no, I don't. I noticed that that happens a lot in my
Yeah.
photographs. means that
Yeah,
the horizon is off.
I always have to correct my horizons, so, and it's
Well,
just,
I don't know how to do that yet.
yeah, you'll find out, yeah. But
Can you
I
see-
could,
Can you
great
see what
photograph.
I'm doing? Can you see my Photoshop right now? Or no?
Yeah.
No,
You want me to save it so you can see it, Sandy?
Yeah,
Quick and dirty. I didn't do a perfect job.
there you go. Oh, you went too far.
Did I go too far? Okay, sorry.
We get the idea.
Too skinny.
Yeah,
that's too skinny.
Sorry.
yeah, it's really fussy sometimes, you know.
It's better, but it's,
Yeah.
oh, that really
Yeah,
changed.
there you go. Perfect. Perfect.
Like it the other way better.
I like it wider, but it's still, the horizon is still on a tilt a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Sometimes ocean shots, when you see a boat going uphill or downhill, it always gets me, you know, so.
Do,
but
do
it's-
you have a ProBook? What computer are you using?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using a MacBook Pro, but I have Lightroom and Photoshop, but I just don't know how to use them. I don't
Well,
have,
okay.
do you know?
Well, I just use the what came with the iPhoto thing,
Uh-huh.
and it's very easy to straighten out and crop a picture and do the color on it.
Well, with my cell phone, it has a setting that's adjust, but it doesn't, I can't figure out how to make it work.
Okay, well, if you want to come over, I'll show you on my MacBook
Okay,
Pro. I'm glad to show you.
okay.
Okay.
That would be great.
It's very simple. It's really simple on there.
Okay. Good.
All right.
It's a nice shot though, either way.
Yeah, it reminds me of fabric, like a dress, like a, what do you call it? Ombre effect on a
Yeah.
dress or something.
Uh-huh.
All right. So this
Oh.
is the emu.
The baby.
Baby emu. My friend called me up very excited. She lives in Forest Knolls and she has a huge bird farm. And she called me up and she said, I have baby emus. And I said, oh my God, what are you doing tomorrow morning? And she brought these 2 babies to my studio.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, they're precious. And there was 2 of them and they kind of would intertwine with each other. And I just loved this particular shot. And the cute thing about them is to get them to get, you can't really see the light in the eye as much as in some of the photos, but to get the baby to look in the right direction, we used a little necklace, and they like shiny things. They like shiny objects. So we have this little star necklace, and she just kept swinging it above my camera lens, and it was an incredibly fun shoot. I've had lots of foul in my studio, and always have lots of poop, but this time it was very easy to keep it clean, and they were just so cute and little, and now they're giant birds, and but and they get the zoomies and they run in circles, and they're really cute and friendly and outgoing, and
Beautiful. Nice shot.
Yeah.
Super
I
cute.
love it. It's awesome.
I don't know what my settings were. Probably, knowing me, probably like in the studio, probably at like an F5, and I don't remember. My shutter was probably like 200. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And I use a Nikon D800, which I love. And then this shot was taken at Angel Island.
Love that shot.
And I met this woman, an ex-Russian ballerina. She's from Russia, and she was a hardcore ballerina and came to America when she was a teenager, and she's in her 40s now. And I just had this idea about doing this, and she just was so excited. And this dress is like polyester crap. It's the ugliest dress you could ever see, but it's giant and it had like a parachute effect. So I had an assistant and she'd come and she'd floof it up, and a little cheesy, but it was really fun. And we took the first ferry out to Angel Island, and we had a bunch of gear, and we had to walk up a hill. It was about a mile walk up a giant hill with a suitcase and my backpack.
Worth, yeah, worth it.
Worth it. It was a really fun day, and it was fun getting to know this Russian ballerina. I mean, where in a million years would I meet her other than doing a photo shoot? I think I shot this. I tend to shoot most of my stuff at 2.8. It's not really that, the depth of field isn't that shallow. I'm actually going to look and see.
It's very lyrical.
You know, can't see. I can't bring the screen any lower, so I can't look at what the exposure was. But
Love the depth.
thank you. And I used my lenses are all fixed prime lenses, and so I shot it with a 105 millimeter, my favorite lens. And I guess that's it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep,
It's
that's
one of
really nice.
those poetry in motion shots.
I thought it reminded me of a perfume ad, kind of.
Of a what?
A perfume ad, you know, like the
Yeah.
lady running down the
Right.
hallway.
Beautiful.
Thank you. All right. Our last speaker is Mr. Terry.
Well, thank you.
Um,
So I do a lot of research before I go on a foreign trip. And the two photos that I put up were both pretty well planned in advance on timing and stuff like that. This was taken in Bruges, Belgium. And I'm actually, my apartment is right there overlooking the canal. And so I went and I talked to the guy that ran the boats, and I said, what time do you stop running the boats? Because I needed to have, the flat water to get my reflection. So I went to dinner. He told me they stopped running probably around 7 o'clock. And I came back, I had my walk around camera with me and no tripod, and it was perfect. And so I went back and I got my other camera, my Canon R5, got a tripod, and came back. And then there's a whole bunch of people on this bridge taking this picture with iPhones. I was the only person with a camera, a regular camera. And of course, then everybody started looking at what I was getting, and that got up to a whole bunch of interest on technique and stuff like that. But it's very interesting that though this is a landscape photo, the one that I like has been cut and cropped down to a portrait model, which cuts off pretty much most of the left-hand side, which I think is a much better photo. But anyway, it was shot at I think I've got the settings here. F22, 30 seconds. ISO is at 100, and I'm using a 70, a 24 to 70 f2.8 lens. I went to Belgium to do two things: to stay in that building because I really liked it. It was very, very old, and to take this picture. That was it.
I love it. It's
But
beautiful.
that's a little bit of, interesting enough, most of my foreign travel photos are street photography, which I enjoy much more, but I like to get in some specialized shots like this, as with the next one, if you bring that one up. So years ago, I was in Paris and I took this picture from the top of one of those buses. And I swore that I would go back at some point 5 years later and take it again at street level. And so we finally get over to this level. It was late in the afternoon, early evening. Denise had her rollator, she was tired. So I bought her a hot chocolate and she sat there and watched me while I worked this scene. There's a guy standing over to the right in this restaurant, making sure I wouldn't touch his glasses because he had just set that table. And, so, but I did move the chair. I happen to like the fork in the glass. But it was just, it was something different. The interesting thing about when you take photos of the Eiffel Tower, I always like to take something different because there are so many straight on photos of the Eiffel Tower. And so I've done zooms at night. I've done different things, and this one here, what was special about it really was the table setup. And I took this one with my my Sony A7 Mark IV, which is usually the camera I walk around with because it's lighter weight. What was my settings on this one? Was f/16 at 160. ISO was 400 because I was not using a tripod. I wanted something quick and whatever. So it was turned out to be a very good shot, and I like it. But I do a lot of planning. I mean, I actually on this trip, because of the difficulties with Denise and using the Metro, I had printed out index cards of all the places I wanted to photograph. So I could just hand them to a taxi driver and tell him to take me to this corner. and I also had index cards for all the hotels to take us back to wherever we was, so she could get back if she wanted to get back early. But there was plenty of places I went where you can't use an Uber because they want to take you to an address, and I wanted to go to a corner, so, but it was pretty well planned out. But I did I did a bunch of protest photography while I was there, a lot of other types of things, and a lot of street photography. I'm still going through it, but then again, it takes me years to get through all my photography when I go on a trip like this.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Great.
Yay.
Yay.
Woohoo.
Yay, everybody. There was something that I thought about that I wanted to share with you all. Did you know with the iPhone 13, you can set your cell phone to take raw files?
Yes.
You knew that?
Yes.
Okay. I was so excited that I found that out. So
I don't know what that means.
it means
They're larger files.
they have lots of information in them. They're really,
Yep.
they're
Yeah,
bigger.
you can change the white balance. I mean, that's the most important thing.
True.
Well, yay.
Yay.
I hope we have our field trip soon, because I have to say I had so much fun when we were doing that. It's definitely a highlight for me. And I hope you're all going to come next month to watch Mary's presentation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you say we're gonna do another field trip or no?
Point Reyes Station.
Oh,
When are you
Okay.
guys going to do that?
It's not planned yet, right,
Oh,
Donald?
okay.
Not quite yet. No, we'll
I'm
announce.
not in California right now, so.
Well, it's going to be a few weeks. We got to watch the weather.
When are you going to do
Yeah.
that, Raven?
We're trying to
What's that?
space. We're trying to space the events out a little bit wider, so not every month, but every maybe 2 or 3 months have an event,
Yeah.
a walk or whatever. Yeah. So
hopefully not morning.
okay,
Oh,
get,
That's the best
get
time.
everybody's input.
Well, it's 8:39, guys. So we've been at it for an hour and a half.
Wow. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
Stephanie. Thank you very much.
Great meeting.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I like your
Everybody.
scarf. Oh, that's a live scarf.
So this is the pushiest cat you will ever meet. Like she literally grabs.
She's so pretty.
She's very pretty, but she's very bossy.
Is that
Here's the
Betty?
kitty I'm pet sitting for, if you can see her. I
That
don't know if you can
Betty?
see her.
Betty or Bug?
I
Betty.
had one just look like that, Misha.
She's so pretty.
She's a
Okay.
brat. This is a bratty cat.
What's her name?
Betty.
Betty?
Yes, and we have a sister. Let me see if I can find her sister.
you want to say hi to everybody, Cashita? Here she is. She's
Oh,
right
look,
here.
she just ruined my brand new sweater. Ugh. I don't know what it is about this cat, but everything she touches is ruined every time. This sweater. Ah. Oh, look at Donald's kitty.
This is Sophie. Sophie wants down.
Megan's got a cat
She's
too.
so pretty.
There you go.
Bye, Sophie.
Hi, Sophie. Got to put her out.
Before you get in trouble.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be in here.
That's so dumb.
Uh-oh.
Guys, I'm gonna head out. So good to see everybody.
Bye.
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 There you go. Hope to see you this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you on Saturday, Terry. Oh,
Yep.